Hey everybody, Zack here at etrailer.com. I'm sure you've been on a set of camper steps that were wobbly. These aren't the greatest example. They're pretty solid, but our customer was looking to add a little bit more stability to it, so this is going to be a really nice way to go. This is the Stabil-Step stabilizer from Stromberg Carlson. It's a really quick and easy way that's also cost effective to get some stability out of our steps. It's really easy to put in place. We just get it to the desired height and then we slide it underneath our steps. Until we get a nice solid connection there. So, and when that's in place, we can see we took what little bounce we had in there. Now this may create some rocking motion on each side, so probably not a bad idea to pick up a second pair, and we could add one to each side there. We get a lot of questions about upgrading or replacing old wobbly steps. Those aren't ideal when we're carrying stuff in and out of the camper, or if we've got kids, or maybe some older people are trying to get in. That's just not a safe setup whenever we're trying to get in and out. So this is a good way to do it. We also really like to put on the Glow Step Revolution steps or Lippert Components Stability steps. Those are a really nice upgrade. Those are rock solid whenever you put those on and you've got those deployed down. But those are really expensive. They're going to take a little bit more effort to get them installed. And if you've got functioning steps, this is a really cost-effective way to get some stability so we don't have to make that large investment right now. We can think about that later down the road. Take our step off of here and take a closer look at this. You can see how this works. There's just a screw that runs in there and lowers this down and raises it up. So we have a nice solid platform on each one. This is going to be steel construction. Has a nice black paint finish on it, so it's going to get scratched up. You can see doing out here in the parking lot, just a couple turns, I've scratched it up already, but it's still going to hold up well. The construction's really nice. You can see it has these holes on the bottom. Now this isn't intended to be for a permanent mount. You won't be able to fold your steps in there, but you can drill a hole down in your steps. We've seen this before, and you can drop a bolt down through there, or if you have a platform like a piece of wood to put there, so you just have a much more solid setup. But I think even with this in place, you're not going to have any issues with this sliding around as long as you have it in there properly. Now when it comes to the footprint that this has down at the bottom and on the top, it's going to be 4 inches by 4 inches, so we don't really have to worry about this sinking down in the ground too much if you're on soft, like if you're in the dirt or in the grass. It's not just a pole that's sticking down in the ground. So if it's really wet out, it may sink a little bit, but this is going to do a good job of spreading out that energy so we're not losing our stability whenever this starts sinking down. So you can see here with this completely removed, there are a lot of threads there. So that gives us a lot of travel to get different heights. Now I'm going to go at least 3 turns. So we have a nice amount of threads that are grabbing onto one another, get a nice stable fit, and that is putting us just shy of 14 inches right there, so about 13, 15 sixteenths. So that gives us good height. Now if we take this all the way down, you can see with it down and all the way, that gets us to 7 3/4 to the top there. So that's a good amount of range. Now, it works out great for steps like this. Now, if you have something that sits lower, like on an RV, we have another one that's identical in design, but it's shorter. So it's going to work from anything from 4 3/4 up to 7 3/4. So not as much range, but it's best suited for steps that go a little bit lower. And then another set that we have, not a set, but a single one, but I would definitely recommend getting 2 of these, is one that you can leave this permanently mounted because it folds up into itself. So what it does is you mount it underneath like this, and then you put one here and one here. So then when you undo it, you can pull a pin and clip out, and then that sets it down. Now this is something that I like when it comes to having 2 on here. This still works well, but having it permanently attached would be really nice. It's the same design. You just spin it until you get the height you want to be comfortable with there. And then when it comes time to folding it back up, you just fold it in and you pull your pin and clip. So if the downside to this one is It's not permanently attached. You have to find it every time. This is definitely a really good option to consider. And when it comes to the weight capacity, these are pretty strong. They have a 750-pound weight capacity. That's probably going to be right in line, if not more than most steps, but definitely go with whatever is the lowest between the two. Overall, I think this is a really nice way. It's easy to use. It's definitely cost effective in comparison to replacing steps or buying the really fancy ones that come down and have a nice stable platform. So if you're just looking to add a little stability to make it easier getting in and out of the camper, this is a really good way to go. But that's going to do it for our look at the Stromberg Carlson Stabil-Step stabilizer.